How would you describe Russia's banking sector at the moment?
Russian banking sector generally coped with the consequences of the crisis. The NPL level, what was the biggest concern for everybody, went down to practically 5%. The loans, both to individuals and corporates, are growing. The loans to corporates are growing average 2% a month, while loans to individuals are also growing, but at a bit more modest level. The trust of the population has increased significantly, and currently the system holds more than 10 trillion rubles of retail deposits, which all of that is, of course, a very good sign. On the other hand, I can't say that there are no clouds in the sky, and the system has coped with all the problems it faced. The old problems like lower capitalization or lack of long-term funding still exist, and business and the government should take quite some efforts to cope with these, and not just these problems, for the future of Russian banking.
So competition between companies has become more transparent. Is it possible to compete with state banks, and what are the advantages of private banks?
The situation with competition in Russian banking is far from being ideal. I would say 6 state-owned banks holds half of the banking assets in the country. So this is the situation. This figure says by itself. Especially during the crisis, state banks got not just the liquidity support, but even more important, capital support. And based on the domination in certain segments like retail deposits, state-owned banks are able to use, I would even dare to say, damping on the asset side, thus hurting the competition with the private banks. But having said that, I'm still very optimistic about the future of the private banks in the country, and our competitive advantages lies not in the area of low cost of funds, but lies in the area of faster decision making, in the faster implementation of changes and new product development, in the closer relationship with the customers, and innovation.
Innovation is a real buzzword at the moment, together with a priority for advanced financial technologies.
Innovation used to be a part of a fashion trend. Today it's not. Today innovation is definitely a serious part of the competition, and might be either competitive advantage or weakness of the banks. Currently, banks are paying much attention to innovation, so they're developing and implementing new projects. Some banks, like us, for example, established separate departments responsible for innovation. So far, I would say that in Russia, innovation is more implementation of the world best practices. But I wouldn't be surprised that in the near future, we will show something which will be new to the world in general.
How do you see the national banking sector evolving in the next few years?
Of course, Russia is a part of world economy, and our banking system is a part of the world financial system. So thus the consequences of the crisis still continue to exist, and looking forward, the overall trend of significantly tighter regulation, significantly stronger competition, more focus on cost control. So all those trends we see them in Russia, and looking forward, they will continue to exist. But having said that, I would like to remind that penetration of banking services in Russia is significantly lower compared to the developed world. And we envisage the rate of growth, both of assets and loans, in the forthcoming years, 15 to 20%, which is visibly faster growth than in the developed economies. So thus, despite those obstacles, I am pretty optimistic about the future of Russian banking.
Finally, what is PS Bank's position in the banking system today and your strategic vision for the next few years?
I consider the strategic focus as one of the competitive advantages of the bank. Our strategy is very clear and provides that PSB becomes the Russian universal private bank #1 in terms of market cap by 2015. Of course, there's a long way ahead of us to implement this strategy. So we are moving fast in the way towards diversification, keeping our traditional competitive strengths in corporate banking. We are faster developing retail and SME banking, more marginal banking areas than the traditional corporates. But it's not just the diversification. It's not just financial objectives, but it's also human capital approach. It's also innovation and advanced sales channels, becoming one of the best sales institutions in the country would contribute to our strategic goal.
Artem Konstandyan, thank you.